Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another video, and today we're doing another event idea video. Okay, so this is one that's been in the polls for quite a while, and it's the Bart does something bad to make money or something like that, or Bart lies to make money. Now, initially, my questline was completely different, but I just didn't like it, so I deleted it and kind of had like a whole new one to fit around the items a bit more, because my questline didn't really fit the items, so I was like, I just screwed it over. So the whole Bart lies to make money thing is kind of been scrapped. And this happened like months ago, and it's been like in the poll for ages, and it's not been voted for. And eventually now I've basically forced it to be voted for. And you guys have voted for it. So over the ballet event, which will be coming in a few weeks as well. So this update, and I really hate to base an update around like a disability, but the only thing I can really call this update is the blind update. I know it's a bit yikesy, but what can I say? It's a bit difficult to. I wanted to have an update based around blind characters, to add a few of the blind characters that we've had in the game, and I've obviously found this scene from one of the episodes, and I was like, okay, maybe I can base it around this scene, and Bart basically like, you know, abusing a disability to get sympathy and money, and yeah, I don't know, it's come out fine, I guess, but let's have a look. So, the start-up is Skinner tells the kids that a new kid will be joining their class, and Skinner asks Bart to look after him. The new student is Kevin, who is blind. Bart thinks Kevin wants to be a goody two-shoes, but Kevin clearly has other motives. Bart is surprised and tells Kevin that the two will get along fine. So make Bart cause mischief with Kevin, make Skinner put out a burning doggy bag, and this will unlock the event. The event currency for this one will be Braille comic books. Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Just Braille comic books. So yeah, this is mainly based around Kevin, but we obviously have the Super Premium, and in the Super Premium, I've got Blind Willy Witherspoon for $8.99 or $8.99. Now I know that sometimes it's $9.99, but they did do it once where it was $8.99, where the donuts were reduced, and I like that. All right, save a pound, okay? Like save a pound or $1. So I kind of like that idea. Now Blind Willy Witherspoon is the guy who basically taught Bleeding Gums Murphy how to jazz, basically taught him jazz, was his like mentor. He's only really appears in a flashback. He's not like a big character. You could argue that like maybe he should be added in a more significant way, because he's a significant character in the sense that, you know, he trained Bleeding Gums Murphy, and Bleeding Gums Murphy kind of trains Lisa, but there's not really, the other two characters don't really fit as a Super Premium, whereas he doesn't really have any building that he can clearly come with, so I've just thrown him here, okay? You'll have to deal with it. But yeah, he's a cool character for sure, so it'd be awesome to get him. So I've thrown him in the Super Premium here. Moving on. In the store, we have Mr. Mitchell with the Mr. Mitchell's house for 150 donuts. So Mr. Mitchell is, of course, a blind guy in Springfield. He's been seen a few times. He mainly appears in the Canine Mutiny episode. I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. But yeah, he mainly appears in that episode. It's where he makes his first appearance. And then he's just seen in the background throughout Springfield. All we really know about him is he's a blind guy. He lives on his own. He likes his animals. And he is a weed smoker. So that's all we know. But yeah, he's a pretty cool character. Obviously, the perfect building for him to come to with is his house. I mean, what other building would be better? Yeah, and I just like having more houses in the game. I love it when they add houses. It's just awesome when they do that, so it'd be great to get it. The questline. So Skinner is not happy with Bart and tells him he's being a terrible influence on Kevin, but Kevin admits he was involved. Skinner tells them both to serve detention, but Skinner can't bring himself to send Kevin to detention. What if he misses the bus? What if he gets hurt? Bart is amazed. Kevin didn't have to do any work, and he managed to get off punishment. So you make Bart learn from Kevin, make Skinner rip up detention slips, make Springfielders earn Braille comics, and this will unlock Kevin as a full playable character. So yeah, I'm starting the update with just chucking in the character. This was something else I wanted to try as well. So initially I had Kevin be the final character, but I wanted to kind of switch it up a little bit because I don't often do this, and I do think it can work quite well when they have a different structure where they throw a character as the first thing. I think that can work sometimes, but it only really works when the character is kind of running the event and they kind of needed to be added first. So that's why I sort of wanted to do with this one. So the final character will be an NPC and not a not a full playable character. So it's a bit different, but I don't know, I think it still works. Bart tells Kevin that him and Milhouse were going to read comics, but he guesses Kevin can't join in. But Kevin tells him he's sure he can by getting Braille comics. So you make Kevin read his comic, make Bart read his comic, make Milhouse read his comic, and make Springfielders earn Braille comics. This will unlock supplies for the blind. So this will be a building you get. There's Mr. Mitchell there, you can see him. He's in the town. Yeah, you just get this supplies for the blind place, which is a pretty cool building to have. Bart, Milhouse and Kevin are told they need to serve detention and are put in with Miss Hoover. Kevin teaches Bart a terrible trick to get Miss Hoover to let them out early. Bart pretends to be blind with Kevin, and who is blind, and they both drop their birthday cakes. And Miss Hoover feels really bad, but she's a bit suspicious. How come they're both blind and it's both their birthday? But you know, she doesn't want to have any parents judging her or anything, so she lets them both go, but tells Milhouse to sit back down. She knows he has poor eyesight, but he ain't blind. So you make Kevin get out early, make Bart get out early, make Milhouse sit in detention, make Miss Hoover host detention, and make Springfielders earn Braille comic books or comics, and you will unlock the animation for Bart. So it's this animation here, which will basically be fake being blind for 4 hours. So basically, it will have Bart have his cake in his hand. He'll drop it. He'll drop his cake, and then he'll be pretending, that he can't find it. Basically, yeah. It could involve Ken Brockman or Dr. Hibbert or something, but I don't know. I kind of think it'd be fine just on his own. Really, he drops the cake, and then he begins to panic, looking for it, and then maybe he can pick the cake up and do the animation again. So Skinner stops Kevin and Bart, and he's pissed because they used a disability to get out of punishment. Because of this, Skinner threatens to split them up, Bart to go to 3rd grade and Kevin to be transferred to a new school. Bart is mortified and worried, and Bart tells Kevin that they should stop for a bit, but Kevin just wants to ramp things up. Make Kevin think of a new prank, make Bart tell Kevin the consequences, make Skinner look for schools to transfer Kevin to, and make Springfielders earn Braille comics, and this will unlock Oakwood Academy. This is a school for the blind. It only appears on a pamphlet, but you know what? We can kind of see it here. I think they can make something work. They've added tapped out exclusive buildings or semi-exclusive buildings before, and I think there's enough here. You can kind of tell what it looks like. You've got these kind of 2 pillars here, and then the door, and then the little, I don't know what you call that, a little guard. I don't know. I think they can make it work. Bart tells Lisa what's happening, telling her that he doesn't really want to lose out on having Kevin as a friend, but he's ramping up things, just making Skinner more mad. Lisa has an idea. Maybe he needs something to stop his boredom and make him popular. He's clearly pranking Skinner for popularity, but what's one thing that would make him more popular? A dog. And maybe we could have a flashback to that time when Bart brought Santa's little helper to the school within Sweet Seymour Skinner's badass song. So you make Lisa look for a stray dog, make Bart look for a stray dog, make Kevin lay the traps for a prank, make Skinner nearly walk into a prank, make Mr. Mitchell not know where his dog went, and make Springfielders earn Braille comics. And this will unlock Mr. Mitchell's dog as an NPC. And at the end, Kevin just uses the dog to prank Skinner, and Skinner says he's being transferred now. Basically, what will happen at the end. So yeah, you get Mr. Mitchell's dog. Now I know I could have thrown Laddie here and had Laddie be a full playable character, but having 2 full playable characters in a quest line is kind of unrealistic, and if they're going to add Laddie, I kind of want him to be full playable, just because I think there's so many cool animations that they could give Laddie, and I think it would be a real missed opportunity. So I didn't want to add Laddie as an NPC, and I thought it'd be too unrealistic to have 2 characters. When it's a costume and a character, I think it's fine, but it's too unrealistic to have 2 characters, although they have done it occasionally. It tends to be very rare, and especially not for a mini update. So I figured, screw it, I'll chuck in an NPC. We'll chuck in Mr. Mitchell's dog, who appears, obviously he was by this bench here, and Mr. Mitchell kind of walks out where the hell's my dog, because Lisa takes him. And I know he's a character who only appears very, very briefly. He's not a main character. I think Lisa abandons him at the end. But yeah, I just wanted something there as a final prize, and I figured an NPC is better than nothing. So that's my idea. I don't know. Tell me if you think it works. But yeah, I just thought Laddie is too significant of a character, and I think there's a lot more they can do with Laddie. And also, I want to mention, Mr. Mitchell probably would be involved a lot more in this quest line. I just couldn't be bothered. Moving on. So the epilogue, Kevin says goodbye to Bart, and he has to go to Oakwood now, but gives Bart one last laugh. Skinner getting blasted with slime. So you make Bart laugh, make Kevin laugh, and make Skinner get mad, and that will be the end of the update. So we have our tasks and animations. So for Mr. Mitchell, we have care for Polly for 60 minutes. So he'll be like holding this little cage here, and he'll be like trying to like he'll have like some seeds, you know, pouring some seeds in the cage, and he's like trying to talk to Polly, but Polly is obviously dead. Call up a dealer for 4 hours. This will be at his house, you know, calling up a drug dealer. Answer questions at the station for 8 hours. That'll be at the police station. Hide his weed for 12 hours. So this will be him dropping his weed, and then he'll be like panicking, and he'll be like, you know, tapping on the ground trying to find it. He'll find it, and then he'll hide it in his like, you know, vest. And then he'll keep walking. Look for a new pet for 24 hours. That will be, I guess it could be the pet shop if you have it. If not, it could just be his house. For Kevin, we have a Tap-Tap exclusive one, which is read a Braille comic. This one could be one that actually unlocks in the quest line as well. But basically, he'll be reading a comic book that's Braille, and you know he'll be reading with his fingers instead of his eyes. And maybe it could be by a tree. Maybe he's like sitting by a tree. Go to detention for 4 hours. That will be at the school. Use pity to get out of trouble for 8 hours. That will be at the school. Bully with Nelson for 12 hours. So I know that him and Nelson's relationship is a big thing within his appearance. And I actually thought it was a really cool relationship, and I love that aspect, but for like the Tap-Tap thing, I didn't want to focus too much on Nelson. In fact, I didn't even focus on Nelson at all. So I figured for the actual event quest line, it will be him and Bart, but for the character quest line, it could be Kevin and Nelson. I think we'll focus a bit more on that. So the bully with Nelson will basically be him and Kevin tripping up someone. Maybe it could be with Milhouse. It could have Nelson, Milhouse, and Kevin. And basically Kevin is like tripping up Milhouse and Nelson's kind of punching him or something. And then become the bully boss of the school for 24 hours. That will be at the school. This will be like, basically my idea for the quest line is that he gets one more chance at the Springfield Elementary or something like that. Or, you know, he's there for a little bit. Or he's there as like a transfer or something. Or as a temporary transfer. And him and Nelson, basically, they're getting along like a house on fire. And you know, they're getting in trouble. He goes to detention. He's, you know, using pity to get out of trouble, and then they're bullying people. But then basically, Kevin, he gets a bit too big for his boots. He wants Nelson's shoes. He wants to be the new bully boss. So he basically betrays Nelson, bullies Nelson, and then becomes the new bully boss of the school. So yeah, I don't know. I think it could be a kind of cool little mini rivalry or like a breakup of the friendship there. And then for Blind Willie Witherspoon, we've got try to play his umbrella for 60 minutes. So he'll have an umbrella in his hands, and he'll be attempting to play it as a saxophone. It was something that was commented in the episode, so yeah. Demand his royalties for 4 hours. That will be at the KBBL, or it could be anywhere like that. Accuse other artists of stealing his music for 8 hours. That will be at the town hall or the courthouse. So it could be anywhere like that. Play one last solo for 12 hours. This will be him with a saxophone. I believe he does play a saxophone, and he'll just be playing along, really, playing his solo. And teach new jazz artists everything he knows for 24 hours. That will be Brown House, or any house, really. And so that is my blind event. So, yeah, I know, bit of a weird theme, but I don't know, I think it works. I think there's definitely some cool blind characters that we can get in the game. Blind Willie Witherspoon, Mr. Mitchell, and Kevin. Those are the only three, I'm not gonna lie, but still, they're all really cool characters. Mr. Mitchell especially is a character that I really want. I don't know, there's something about him. I just think maybe it really comes down to the fact that he has a house, and I generally just love it when like a character can come with their house. That just makes sense to me. But yeah. So tell me your thoughts, what do you think, and I shall see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, goodbye.